Moving on, I'd like to discuss the methods and the results of my study on sex crimes during genocides. The basic method that I used is the same method that I used in my previous research on the Bosnian and Rwandan genocides, and that is basically taking the whole idea of violentization theory in those stages and seeing if they fit into the case study literature in the three genocides that I studied in this case. I also incorporated the Holocaust into this analysis. And so basically, I used a lot of materials from the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia and the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. And this is all readily available to the general public. It's public domain last time I checked. And you have access literally to thousands of pages of court documents and witness testimony and other evidence regarding a variety of criminal activities that occurred during the genocides. The method I used basically is called directed qualitative content analysis. And Shannon really described this in their qualitative analysis article. Basically, what I did is kind of very different from what you would see in many research studies, is I went ahead and with this preconceived notion that violentization theory might fit these cases, so I looked for the violentization theory stages within the court transcripts and documents. Primarily in this analysis, I went to the fourth and fifth stages directly, the virulency and extreme virulency cases. And now I'd like to read some of my results, or present some of my results. First, I wanted to point out, though, that in looking at Kressel's work, that he states there are three motives for rape: the desire to hurt or to humiliate, the desire to demonstrate power, and the desire to have sex. And Mullins, in his 2009 work, found three different types of rapes during genocides: opportunistic, sexual enslavement, and structured. And of course, we could ask how these would apply to the three genocides as well, and how they fit within the whole violentization process. What I did find in my analysis is that there was a desire to hurt and humiliate the victims and to demonstrate power. The primary motives seem to be power and humiliation, as well as domination as the major theme, and of course in the cases of genocide, annihilation. I went ahead, as I mentioned, and studied the Holocaust, the Rwandan, and the Bosnian genocides. In looking at the Holocaust literature, there seems to be very little material on sex crimes committed during the Holocaust, although when one starts reviewing the literature, one finds that that sexual violence was very common during the Holocaust. It is a greatly neglected area. That we do have evidence of gang rapes and orgies, and some, of course, would consider the medical experiments that were conducted as sexual assaults as well. We also saw that there were some differences between the Holocaust and Rwanda and Bosnia genocides. For example, in Rwanda and Bosnia, forced pregnancies were used as a weapon, and in the Holocaust, women who were raped were often killed right after the rape. There are also cases of child sexual abuse in all three genocides. And this has been an area that, again, has been neglected, and we have seen some research more recently emerge on this topic. I found a lot more information on the Bosnian and Rwandan genocide, and not as much on the Holocaust. But there is an emerging literature in that area. In looking at the Bosnian case study, I will just read a passage from the transcript to kind of give you an idea of the extreme virulency, how the violentization theory fits. And so I'm just going to briefly go over some of the case material. And again, there's hundreds of pages in the original court documents. And in July 1992, witnesses FWS 87 were frequently taken out and raped, vaginal and anal penetration and fellatio. On one occasion, witness FWS 87 was gang raped by 4 men, including DZ and ZV. DK took FWS 75 and DB at least 5 times to his headquarters that housed a group of Montenegrin soldiers in the Al-Zad neighborhood in a particular district. DK commanded these soldiers. In mid-July 1992, FWS 75 and DB were brought to this house for the first time. When they arrived at the headquarters, a group of soldiers were waiting. DK took DB to a separate room and sexually assaulted her, while FWS 75 was left behind together with other soldiers. For about 3 hours, FWS 75 was gang raped by at least 15 soldiers, vaginal and anal penetration and fellatio. They sexually abused her in all possible ways. The soldiers put their penises into their hands and ejaculated all over her. During the sexual assault, one soldier took out a knife and threatened to cut off her breast, but another soldier prevented him from doing this. So in this case, you obviously see the extreme virulency and the analysis, I think, of the domination, humiliation, and annihilation themes permeate into the genocidal, sexually abusive phantom community. Here you have a group of 15 soldiers engaging in group rape. And we have many cases like this. Many cases. Let me take a case from Rwanda. Witness NN estimated that she arrived at the Bureau Communal sometime in the beginning of May, and she said she found about 300 refugees there, mostly women and children. The morning after she arrived, she said she saw the accused with a towel around his neck moving to a place where 2 Interahamwes were driving a woman to rape her, between the Bureau Communal and the Cultural Center. She said she saw the accused standing watching the men drag the woman, and later on he entered the office. She said she saw the Interahamwe circle this woman and saw them on top of her but did not see them penetrate her. She also said there were many refugees watching while this was happening. During the rape, she said there were 2 commune policemen who were in front of the office of the Burgermaster, one called Mushamba and one called Nasihumava, who was in plain clothes. She said they did nothing to prevent the rape from happening and that the accused did nothing as well, only watched and entered his office. She said after the rape she saw that the naked woman was hungry and cold and the woman was pregnant. She said she was told by the Interahamwe that the woman died in the Bureau Communal. Witness NN said she did not see anyone raped inside the Cultural Center, but that the Interahamwe did come at night and take some girls away. So again, you see that extreme virulency, and you see the group, you see witnesses. And again, I think the important part here is we're in desperate need of a theory to try to understand the dynamics that are going on here. And I think that Lonnie Athens' violentization theory, along with the concept of the phantom community and domination as a major theme, assist in trying to understand how these brutal perpetrators engage in violent group rapes. And this wraps up this video.